Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It is 9:36 at night. I am adding about a tablespoon of sugar into my water that I'm boiling because I forgot to finish my bagels for the day. So we are making some homemade bagels and we're going to talk about everything that happened today with Putin, Trump. Now Trump's making phone calls to NATO and Zelensky. Y'all, yesterday, that was wild. Sorry, I'm gonna tap like right in front because I'm like just trying to move my camera around because you are catching me in my kitchen doing what I do. All right, so let's give a nice little round of applause for my gorgeous looking bagels. Now they're gonna be different seasonings and different flavors, but I got my oven preheating right now to like 425. I gotta get these in some boiling water, put them out, and then season the top. But we're going to talk about everything that happened. Anybody else feeling really overwhelmed after watching that? Like, I already assumed we weren't going to get any kind of deal. Like, I've already like set that in my head, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys felt the exact same way. But my guess is it is Putin saying that Ukraine needs to succeed. Like they need to wave the flag. And I'm guessing with him saying he needs to make some phone calls to NATO, Putin has always wanted to be involved on some level of acceptance of NATO, let alone does not want Ukraine to be involved with NATO. But do we know in depth? I mean, the meeting did go for 3 hours. It did. I will say one of the biggest flexes of all time, which actually had me giggling a little bit, was when the stealth bomber went right over Putin and their head. Like it was very climactic at that moment. It was one of those like, hey, look what I have moments. I don't know if anybody else felt like this, but I'm going to continue prepping on because that's what I do. I got my boiling water right there. I got to get some of these guys in there, and we're going to boil each one of these like for 2 minutes on each side. I'll show you a little bit what's going on. You know, got raising the temperature of my water. Nothing fancy, you guys. This is just a normal thing. I'm going to be making some Asiago bagels, so I'm going to grate up some cheese and throw it on the top as these get done, and then they go into the oven, and then I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bagels. And my son helped make these, and he's 8 years old. Super simple, super easy. You probably see like my Dr. Pepper can in the background. That's because I'm addicted to Dr. Pepper. Judge me. But we're going to continue to prep, stack, repeat, because there is a lot to take away. I mean, the meeting went longer than what I expected. I actually expected the meeting to be much shorter, especially after the meeting with Zelensky back in February. I just assumed that it was going to be a very short-lived meeting, but it seemed to actually happen very quickly, which I was pretty impressed by that. Now, the things to take away from words that are not spoken, right? You can take a lot from these meetings and what the few words that were spoken at the podium. Understand that in Russia, Putin is very strict over media questioning. If you did not know that, he actually has to have the list of questions, and he actually selects the ones that he's going to answer. So I was not shocked that they did not take any questions. That is pretty common. It is very common in those kind of countries. Poof, temperature is done. Let's go with that. But I didn't expect for him to take any press conference questions whatsoever. That's not really in their nature. They're more very strict about what information is going to be given out. Now, the words that were not spoken is the ones that we should be thinking about and questioning. The words that were not spoken. Okay, Trump says, I got to make a phone call to NATO and Zelensky. Okay. But the words that were not spoken was, what was the 3-hour conversation? Was it a conversation of, can this be de-escalated? Was this a conversation of, I already have a fifth of the country? Honestly, the way I look at the way Putin is, and he is very pompous, and so is Trump, but he probably went in and said, I've already claimed about a fifth of the country. I can keep going, or we can end this, but it's going to be on my demands, because he does have a fifth of that country. Now that's very uncomfortable for anybody else in the room that's like, and you still have like World War III looming. I mean, I'm going to be really honest with you guys. NATO has been pushing World War III. We are almost to a boil. That's what I need going on right now. I'm actually going to start some of these a little bit early. We're just going to do 2 minutes on each side. But understand that he's already winning the war. Ball's kind of in his court, unfortunate as that is. But NATO has been really pushing the idea of a World War III, in my opinion. Not in everybody else's, and that is totally fine. But in my opinion, war makes money. And this World War III train continues to go forth. So what is something you can do? You can continue to prep. Read past page 1 on the news. That is one of the big things that I encourage people to do is, read past all of that. Understand conflict. Understand winning and losing in conflict. I really don't see Putin stepping down. But I already said that in the previous video. I already said that I don't see him sitting back. So, what are the things that I would be more concerned about? Okay, first of all, I'm not looking at a Red Dawn type of situation. I mean, there always could be one, but the way I look at it is I think cyber warfare is one of the biggest threats to our country. I need to keep track of my time because I have all these little bagels boiling right there. And I'm just going to... Sorry, my hand keeps going in front of the camera, and that might get annoying to you guys, but y'all, I'm cooking in the middle of my kitchen. Be patient with me. Now that you guys have been a little bit patient with me while I grab some tongs so that I can flip these bagels, and then I'm just going to pick out what seasonings we're going to be putting on. I think I'm going to do an egg wash over one of them, and probably an everything bagel seasoning, which is normally right here. Oh, it's right behind me. It's late at night. We just finished with my son's football game. And yeah, there was a lot of words that were not said. Things that have been said throughout the news. I mean, Trump brought up our infrastructure earlier this week. There's been a lot of things that have been brought up where I say read between the lines. He brought up how old and broken our electrical grid is. Those are areas that I would say, it's probably a big risk. Also, you had the Obama movie where they discussed how broken certain systems are. Those are areas that I definitely prep in, especially a former president making a doomsday type video. I think that goes to say very easily where I would suspect things to go. Just going to flip all of my bagels over. Bagels are super easy. If you guys are looking for an easy sourdough recipe, this one I really like. It is a 1/2 cup of starter when it's bubbly. I want to say it's 1 cup of water and 4 cups of flour. I doubled that recipe. And then 2 teaspoons of salt and 2 tablespoons of honey. So what I do is the sourdough starter, water, and then honey, mix that in, start adding in the flour, and then I add in the salt. I let that rise overnight on my countertops. I started this process yesterday. I let that rise over there, and then I divided the dough up, and then I made little balls, and then I put a little circle in the middle, with your thumb or your fingers, and then I let that rise on the counter for another I let it rise for about 3 more hours on it because I was at my son's baseball game. So, but there's a lot of things you can take away in the process of what's happening. You have inflation, you have a grid system, you have all of these really contributing factors, and then you have attempted peace parlay treaty. I didn't think it was going to happen. I don't know if people really thought that there was going to be a peace drill or a peace deal going on. You let them boil on each side for like 2 minutes, and then you put them on the counter. I do need an egg, so wait one. Y'all, I am pushing almost 10 o'clock at night, and it's pretty late. But I hope you guys are enjoying making bagels with me. It's not from start to finish. It's just while I'm talking to you guys. I'm just gonna get a little tiny whisk where I'm just gonna mess this egg up. I'm just gonna try to do this as in a little amount of takes as possible because I really don't enjoy the video editing aspect of YouTube, but it's fun. Just gotta flip these ones. I did let these bagels rise a little bit too long, but I'm actually excited because they're a lot bigger than the last couple sets I've made. So I'll take that. But one of the things that we can keep in mind, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just giving this a nice little wash. I normally use a little bit of a different device. I use like one of those little meat basters, but I don't really have time for that. It's 10 o'clock. I want to go to bed and I want to get these all in the oven at the same time so that I can just call it what it is. I'm just going to make some of these, some everything seasoning bagels, and some of them plain. The plain everything and Asiago seem to go the fastest in my house. So hopefully I can get those done, but they are very nice sized. I will say that. They don't really rise when they're in the oven. They've already done their rising, and they're very simple to make. So I think I'll be able to fit, ooh, that one's hot. I should be able to fit 8. Now I know the lighting isn't delightful when you guys are underneath the microwave while I'm cooking, but this is what it's like to be around me in the middle of the night when I still have tasks that I have to complete. So right now I'm just gonna grate up some cheese to throw on an Asiago. I do have a couple jalapenos that are ready. I'm not sure if I want to add those in on this one. I was thinking about making a jalapeno loaf tomorrow, but sourdough is super easy, you guys. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to do grams. You can do cups. It's not that big of a deal. If you want to be more precise, go ahead and do your grams and all of that, but I ain't got time for that. This is what it looks like. I'm literally going to just chuck cheese on the top, and all my kids ate every single last one. So this batch is gonna have, what? 3 Asiago, 3 everything, and then 2 plain bagels. Easy peasy. I'm gonna just throw those in. They only take about 25 minutes to cook. And get the next one started. Yeah, I know that was annoying. Sorry, my apologies. But I'm gonna make a couple more Asiagos off this one because they did go fast last time. But how is everybody feeling about the meeting with Putin? I really didn't think we were gonna get anything out of it. That's where my feelings were on it. I know a lot of people thought that there was gonna be a peace deal or that something was going to come of it a lot faster. I mean, the fact that they did have a 3-hour sit-down meeting was pretty impressive in itself because, I mean, Russia really hasn't been talking to anyone lately. So I'll take a slight win. I wouldn't even consider it a win. but a conversation. But the parts we need to think about is the stuff that wasn't spoken. NATO, it seems like NATO's got a lot to do with this, and same with Ukraine. And how are they going to decide? Nobody wants to lose a war. That's just egos, guys. That's simple, straight across the board. Nobody wants to lose anything, but it seems like the potential of not coming to an agreement. My dog is actually below me making sounds. He's blind, deaf, and 15 years old. Okay. He's my little liability dog. He might start talking, but do we think Ukraine is going to kind of come to the round table and talk about it? I really just don't see it. I don't see it, you guys. I know that seems very pessimistic. Once again, prep, stack, repeat, prep, stack, repeat, because we are in unprecedented times, and it seems like NATO has a lot of pulls in this, and same with Ukraine. And I have a feeling we're going to start hearing a little bit about more money being funded. I don't know from the US, but we don't know what was said behind those closed doors. And so that's something we have to keep, and we have to keep our eyes on, is things aren't always what they appear, and they're not always what they seem. And things could get really interesting. And I encourage you guys to continue prepping on, continue your skills. I will be up here baking probably until 11 o'clock at night, because your girl ain't gonna go to the store and buy bagels tomorrow, okay? I refuse to. They're like $4 a bag. Yeah, this takes me about a day to make, but they're so much better and cost effective, and I can make a ton of them. If you guys don't notice, right over there, that's my sourdough starter, and I feed it like almost every day. I don't discard. I'm literally like the worst sourdough advising person out there. So just so you guys know, I am not the aesthetic pleasing creator, canner, baker. I literally just go with my gut, and it hasn't failed me. I follow. Instead of discarding, I'm just baking all the time, almost every day. I feed it. I use it when it's frothy. I come up with a new recipe and I bake it again. And there's my dog. He's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, it is late at night and it is time for bed." So as always, stay aware, stay prepared, and always have your head on a swivel. And I will catch you guys on the next one. We're gonna give a round of applause for those bagels at the end of this. And can we get a round of applause for the bagels? We got our Asiagos. We got our everything bagels. We got some plain ones, and we have another batch coming out of the oven. So good night, you guys. I will see you in the morning. I'm sure this will be posted in the middle of the night for you guys.